Περνάμε στην επόμενη ενότητα με τίτλο Back to the Future of Work. Καλωσορίζω την Κέλλη Παναγιωτίδου, Partner Organizational Design της Reborn. Στην παρουσίασή της, με τίτλο Back to the Future Employee Experience in 2025, θα εξηγήσει τι αλλάζει και πώς θα είναι η εμπειρία των εργαζομένων στο μέλλον. Καλημέρα, κυρία Παναγιωτίδου, καλώς ήρθατε. Ο λόγος είναι σε εσάς.
Καλημέρα, ευχαριστώ πολύ. Thank you very much. So this is Reborn, and I'm Kelly Panagiotidou, and it's a pleasure to be part of this event today. We're gonna travel to the future today, back to the future, and see how 2025 looks like. So building up upon what Dr. Ernst said before, for sure, we believe that COVID was maybe the best transformation consultant a company could ever have. And of course, there are many reasons to believe that. The adoption of the tools that we overnight managed to have, the remote working that we never thought that could work actually, and we were all wrong, including us on that. So full remote can work, and it can be effective as well. Or even the fact that companies with very heavy processes and very slow decision making, they were able to adjust and make decisions overnight to adjust in the new situation. So yes, for sure, many changes happened, and it's like we pushed the fast forward button. However, at Reborn, we feel that was just the beginning. We just scratched the surface. And what we mean by that is that, yes, I mean, we adopted so many tools, and that was great. We realized that we don't need to travel in order to collaborate with people around the world. But we didn't change the way that we collaborate. We just transferred what we were doing in the office in a virtual environment. We just transferred the same inefficient, ineffective meetings to MS Teams or Zoom or Google Meet, and actually we put a little bit, a few more on the mix just to compensate for not being in the same room anymore. So many things are yet to be seen as an impact of these change. We're not futurologists for sure, and we're not psychics. And what we're going to share with you is just our feeling on how we see things evolving in the next couple of years. So we see those forces as being very, very important into what is going to happen. And globalization of work, of course, this is not new. It's something that we have seen in the past years. However, now we feel that the impact is going to be even more apparent to everyone. Automation, the tools that we're using, even more solutions are going to be available to us. And of course, the fact that remote is here to stay. This is going to impact a lot how work is going to look like in the future. So these are the biggest challenges ahead. We have many, of course. We chose a few here. The most important one we feel is that talent war, that it's nothing new, has gone to a whole different level now. The fact that we realize that we can work fully remotely means that people can be in Greece and work for companies that don't have operations in Greece. Actually, we have two very good examples of this case. They participate in our panel right after. Two very talented senior HR executives that are actually working for a company that doesn't have operations in Greece. So this means that we as companies, we don't compete only with each other as a market in the Greek market. We compete against European companies. We compete against global companies. And someone doesn't have to relocate to have this choice. And of course, this choice comes with many other benefits, like a different pay, not compared to the Greek market, but to the European market, and different experiences, employee experiences, and roles, and career advancement, etc. On the other hand, however, employers also have more choices, right? Because if at least we decide to adopt and to create room for that, we also going to have the choice to dig into a bigger talent pool that is not only located in Greece. Now, the other very important discussion that is going to shape that is currently a great challenge is not only from where we're going to work, because sure, as previous speakers also discussed, there's this discussion whether we're going back to the office, whether we're going to remain fully remote or hybrid, which seems like 90% of the companies are choosing that globally. So yeah, in this case, for sure, each company will see what fits for them. But there's also the question of when to work, because 9 to 5 seems to not be relevant anymore, relevant to the needs of the employees. Employees require that their employers understand their personal needs, their personal schedule, and give them the room to navigate around that. And of course, 40 hours a week is also a challenge. I mean, we saw Belgium announced that now they are going to give the opportunity to employees to work like they are entitled to 4 days per week of work. So things are becoming very, very interesting. And of course, this whole discussion also impacts our offices, right? Because if we're not fully going back to the office, do we need an office? And if we do need an office, does it have to be that big? And if we don't need all this office space, what happens with this real estate? Most importantly, actually, is that we see this big challenge that we now have to face. The structure that we have, the team operating system, the ways of working, they are 100 years old and they just don't suit us anymore. They don't fit our purpose. We have structures that are very like top down. Decision is taken by the managers, which maybe many times doesn't make sense because maybe it's not that fast or they don't have all the information. So how we operate, how we collaborate, how we structure is not relevant anymore. It was 100 years ago and we haven't changed it since then. So this, of course, finally impacts what we expect from our leaders, from our managers. This changed a lot during the pandemic and we have so many stories, all of us, I guess, to share how this went. But also, we know that moving forward, more and more automations are going to be available to the managers, which means that they're going to be able to focus more into building relationships with their team. And of course, as we shape in a different way the structure and the ways of working, the role of the leader is also going to be very different. So let's go back to the future. It's 2025. And this is how we believe that the companies, the successful companies, have addressed those challenges, some of the things that they have done. We feel more companies, first of all, are purpose-driven. And yet, again, this is not a new discussion. And not all companies have defined their purpose, their why we exist as a company beyond financial gain. This is not something that everyone has given priority to. And even if they haven't actually translated it or connected it to the other elements of the culture, like values, etc. And they haven't translated it into consistent experiences for the employees. So we see that happening more in the future. It's something that employees are gonna need, even if we are able to pay high salaries, it's not gonna be enough. Being purpose-driven is very top in the priorities of the employees, so we really need to focus on that. Then we're gonna see more companies designing their team operating system more intentionally. Now, what we mean by team operating system, every team has one, even if it's not intentionally designed. And we mean that it's the way that they align, they meet, they share information, they grow, they learn from their mistakes, they prioritize. So all those things that make the team work, right? We believe that in the coming years, more and more companies are gonna spend energy and time to intentionally design those operating systems and see what actually works for them. Working in iterations in an agile way and seeing what works in one team and then scaling up, etc. Now, part of course, of the structure is also of the team operating system is also the structure. We believe that slowly companies are going to move away from the top-down functional structure, moving towards centered, customer-centered and or product-centric structures, which means that we create teams that have the customer or a segment of customers or a product at the center, and we have around it different roles like HR and marketing and finance, etc. Actually, some companies have started towards that direction. We have clients that have already started that. However, we believe that moving forward, this is going to be even more intense. And collaboration is gonna for sure be different. So it's going to involve a lot more co-creation. What I mentioned before about the team operating system, who is better to know how this should look like than the team itself. No leaders, no consultants know the solution. It's the team themselves that need to co-create how their team operating system should look like. And of course, we have tools like design sprints here to help us in this direction. Or we may see like companies, we will see companies asking their employees how the onboarding experience should look like. Let's co-create that. So this is going to be more and more part of our way of working. Then we believe that collaboration is going to be more asynchronous as well. I mean, we don't have to meet. We don't need to go into a meeting room or in a Teams call to collaborate. We have the tools to do that in an asynchronous way first, and ensure also that ideas are shared in a psychologically safe environment, and then come together and align and agree on the final solution. Let's end this and let's ensure that at some point this endless fatigue of meetings is shaped in a different way. And of course, collaboration is going to be more technology enabled in the sense that there are already many solutions. So we're going to see more and more solutions that are going to help us even, for example, give feedback or nudge employees that are not very active in a meeting, and use the technology to nudge them a little bit. So we're gonna see more and more things happening there. Now, definitely many companies have started working on those areas. Some others haven't yet, and that's okay. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's just that we're thinking whether it's actually a choice to not start working on those areas, because maybe what we saw in the past months and the past year was not the great resignation. Maybe that was the great expectation of what employees would like to see from their companies, and the great resignation is yet to come if we don't act upon those requests and expectations. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kelly.